Welcome to another episode of the Chicks on the Right podcast. Very pleased to have a complete rock star with us today from the Conservateur. It is CEO and founder of Conservateur, Jayme Franklin, who is a 2020 college grad from UC Berkeley. Was not expecting that.
Exactly.
Very active in political circles. Our audience might know you best from various TV appearances, from the fantastic aesthetic on your Instagram page, and the fact that you are on a mission to show young women that conservative is the way to be. You remind us when we first started 16 years ago now, trying to give conservatism a makeover. And so tell us how you got started. How did this get born?
Yeah, so I grew up in Northern California, like right outside of San Francisco. And honestly, it just goes to show you how much the culture's changed. Like my upbringing, granted, I went to Catholic school and I grew up in like a more conservative household and stuff, but kind of felt like just like that insane culture war thing wasn't really a part of my childhood at all. And I went to Berkeley from 2016 to 2020. So that was Trump's first term in office, obviously. So that's when I really saw this like take into effect, just this rampant left-wing attack on like American ideals and our culture. And I always wanted to go into fashion. That's what I wanted to do. I spent like the summer before I went to college at Condé Nast College of Fashion and Design. That was my goal in life. And I was like that girl. I grew up with magazines next to her bed. Like I was on like every fashion blog and stuff. And I just couldn't stand how left wing everything became. And I just realized I don't have a place in this movement, like within women's media. And so when I was, at Berkeley, obviously I had a lot of inspiration there, which is how insane the left was the entire time I was attending, and just my education. Like I was an American history major, and it was just a completely different history than I grew up and that I knew. And so it was just a lot of inspiration that came into place. And I finally was like, I'm going to create my own thing for women who, you don't even have to be like a hardcore MAGA conservative like myself, but for women that just like don't agree with like rampant feminism, the toxic, ideology against men, not wanting to have children, hating America, hating white people, just all the stuff we talk about all the time, just a place where they can go and get really sound advice. And the thing that stood out to me most at Cal was just how lost women were with especially the dating culture. It was just, I grew up very Catholic, and I grew up believing that like sex is sacred and that is for someone you love, someone who you're married to. And I just saw so many women lost in this toxic feminism, and they just didn't have, I feel like, a lot of self-esteem. So I wanted to give more empowering, message to young women as well. Because right now we have Call Her Daddy, which is so big. And I just think that's a bad message towards women. So I wanted to be the alternative to that. Anyway, fast forward today, I'm a mom, I'm married, and I just want to talk about like how important the family is. And I want my daughter to have a better country and a better culture to grow up in.
That is so fantastic. And it's resonating, I think, so much even more now. I think we're seeing sort of a resurgence of all of that in the last couple of years, and especially in the last couple of weeks. But I'm curious, because like back when I was in my 20s, it's hard to remember those times because I'm 1,000 years old.
Young.
Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. But like when I was in my 20s, I remember I lived for September Vogue. Like,
exactly.
I loved it. I loved it so much. I remember getting the giant, huge, big issue of September Vogue, and I would just eat it up. And I thought it was so great. And like, I loved all the fashion. And then when I got into my 30s, it was kind of like what you say. It was it was just trash. I started, and I think part of it was me, but then part of it was them, and Vogue is just one of many examples, right? But I did love the physical book, like the physical magazine. And you guys, you're digital, correct?
Yes.
Do you ever plan on, or would you ever dream of doing like a print version of the Conservateur and then having it like in grocery stores across the country? Because I used to love that. I used to have subscriptions. I had the print. I mean, maybe it's because I'm old school. I am old. I get it. But there is something to be said for that print, having it in your hands, having that old school. I mean, I know everybody's so digital now, but God, I love print. I love print.
I completely agree. That is something I definitely want to do. We've been able to accomplish a lot so far, but we're a very small business. And so people want us to do more and more. And that is in our plans. Like I started this when I was 20 years old. So I've just been like growing and growing, and I've been trying to figure out the business side as well. But I think that's definitely, I think people actually want like a return to nostalgia. Like, a lot of people in my generation and Gen Z, they really love like 80s stuff because like, I think people think of it as better America. So I completely agree with you. I think that's something that we were thinking about doing, at least like a coffee table book. We have a great photographer. We've worked with multiple photographers and just gotten so many great images over the time of great conservative women. So anyway, that's in the plan.
That's fantastic. I love it.
So when you decided that you wanted to launch this, I mean, you're very well connected. Like, what was your stepping stone? How did you meet the right people? How did you actually, because there's lots and lots of people who are like, I'm going to start a website or I'm going to start a podcast. And, there's millions of non-success stories. What do you think contributed to the fact that you have grown so much? What was the turning point for you?
I love that you asked this question because it's something I'm very proud of. Growing up in Northern California, my parents are Canadian, so we had no political connections whatsoever. Like I didn't grow up now I live in DC, but I did not grow up in this world. I remember I wanted to work so badly. I went and visited my girlfriend, who now runs the Conservateur with me, out in DC because she had started interning there. And I was like, wow, I love this. I want to move to DC and I want to work in politics. And I remember the first thing I did, I emailed 100 offices to just try to get in somewhere on the Hill for an internship. I think 99 were no, and I got one opportunity, and I took it that summer, and I went to Senate, and that's when I really my girlfriend and I started developing the Conservateur over that summer. But it goes to show you, I think I always tell people that want to get involved in politics is, get your resume in order, email 1 million people, call as many people as you can. You don't need to have connections, and then when you get here, be just a kind, outgoing person and work really hard and be really flexible. And people want to see you succeed. I mean that, especially in the conservative movement. I found that there's just a lot of Christians with really great values that literally will do a lot for you. And so that's how I built my network over time. But I will also tell you this, when I launched the Conservateur, this is a really funny story. It happened 3 days before George Floyd, and I had just graduated Berkeley. So I was conservative at Berkeley, but my parents Antifa, and now we see with Charlie Kirk, it is very dangerous to be conservative on these college campuses.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
My parents were ahead of the curve with that and were very, Jayme, we don't want you too outspoken. They were like, you have to wait to release the Conservateur until you've graduated because, Ben Shapiro came and Coulter came and spoke at Cal, and there was just so much violence. And I mean, with Charlie, it's just horrific. So I launched it, and it happened to be 3 days before George Floyd. I lost all my friends because I refused to post the black square. And I wasn't even mean or anything. I just said, this is horrible what happened to George Floyd, but I don't think that this is an indictment on America or police officers in general. I back the blue. I support, our brave police officers, and I don't support the agenda that that we've talked about, that we've been vindicated on, to be quite frank.
Right.
So and when I posted the Conservateur, we did a great thing about uniting America under American ideals and coming together. And we received so much hate. I can't even begin to tell you. Everybody I knew was commenting the worst things on my Instagram. They were posting me unfriend her. I had people texting me, Jayme, I can't even follow you on Instagram anymore because people will come after me. And so when I started, no one supported me. And that goes to show you, if you stick through and you're brave and courageous and you stick by what you believe, you'll be right in the end. And that's when after that, we just started building. More and more women came to us. And I'm just so proud today. We have almost, I think with all of our social media combined, we have 300,000 real women across the country just that love what we do. And so I think it's a good testament that just don't let people ever bully you into submission.
Amen. We totally believe in that too. We've lived through a lot of that. Yes, we have over the years. So when it comes to friends, because you touched on that a little bit, friends, so-called friends, and the Berkeley thing, I'm just fascinated by the Berkeley thing because, I mean, you knew that Berkeley back even in 2016 was pretty freaking liberal. I mean, we know that. So when you went there and you had friends at Berkeley, did they know you were conservative, and was that tough? And I mean, and then when all that happened to you, when you started losing friends and they started finding, I mean, were you out, you talk about how you weren't really outwardly conservative, or were you? Did your friends know? Did your friends not know? How did that work? And then did you lose a lot of friends, and how did you handle that?
Yeah, so I went to Berkeley because, I grew up in California, obviously, and it's a great school. So when I got in, and my dad's like, in-state tuition, you're going to Cal. And I was like, okay. And I grew up a Cal Bears fan. So I was so excited to go there. And I love that I went to Cal because I always say, it made me a better conservative because I totally understand the other side. And, I don't think a lot of liberals really understand us, if I'm being honest. I think that they're uneducated about what conservatives believe, which is why they have some caricatures of us. But when I was at Cal, I became more and more conservative over time there. And, I did lose a few friends in fights, but I think it wasn't super, with Trump there, some of the kind of the far lefties were very toxic. But I think your everyday kind of moderate liberal wasn't as toxic until after BLM happened. When BLM happened, that is just when normal people lost their minds. And so I legitimately lost basically every single friend I had at Cal. They didn't want to be associated with me. But thankfully I went and worked this is crazy. Like I lost all my friends and I went and worked on the Trump campaign and then went over to the Trump White House and met my best friends that I have such a great group of conservative people around me. And I met my husband doing all of that. So it was a crazy year for me. But like I said, I think God always has a plan. And I think if you stand by and you, like I said, just don't let people bully you. If you really, and my parents, I have to say, like my dad especially, he just always believed in me and has helped me with all of this. And so I'm really thankful for that.
So in light of everything that's happened over the last couple of weeks with Charlie Kirk, who's obviously, I mean, he was able to capture the hearts and minds of Gen Z men. And so, you know, we kind of look at you as the person that's trying to do the same for young women. And so when you think about trying to capture the most liberal demographic in the country, which is young women, how do you do that? Like, do you think the momentum behind what happened to Charlie is going to continue and it'll continue to help? How do you focus your message to capture those group of women who are so crazy?
Yeah. I mean, it's really crazy to see their reaction. It was a lot of women actually, and I'm like, wow, that was shocking to me. I have to give Charlie Kirk just such props. Like what he's done with young men has been revolutionary and extraordinary. And that's why for so many reasons, we're going to miss him so much. But his mark has just been so left on, you know, the younger generation, particularly men. And I'm really excited for Erika Kirk because I think she embodies exactly what we need to look up to as women. I think women don't have a lot of great role models. Our role models are, and I'm not looking to bash women, but like Taylor Swift, for example, or, you know, Olivia Rodrigo, or a lot of these really far left actresses, or Call Her Daddy with Alex Cooper. Like, I just don't think that I think we need more role models on the conservative side. And so, you know, I think Erika Kirk is a perfect example of a woman that we preach about at the Conservateur, to be a person who puts your husband and your kids first, but you can still have a great career. You can be passionate about stuff. That's what I do in my life. I think you can do it all as an American woman. And so I really want to carry on that message that Charlie had for young men and really change the culture of young women. And I think that starts with having better role models. I think it starts with having a message that's a little more palatable for women as well. As amazing as I listen to like so many conservative men speak and stuff, but I understand that's very tailored towards men. And so I think a slightly different message needs to be towards women like yourself, that you guys are reaching out and like you guys have done great for like your generation of women as well. Like I think you guys have moved the needle in such extraordinary ways. Gen X, my parents, I think you guys are Gen X, correct?
We are Gen X, yes.
I love Gen X. I think they're such a great generation. They raised Gen Z. That's why we're both like the most conservative generation. We raised millennials. I always say that. But yeah, I think Gen X is like just phenomenal. And I'll give you a statistic too. Unmarried women voted for Kamala Harris plus 40 points. Married woman voted for Trump plus 2 points. And so I think a lot of these women that, you know, a lot of the conservative movement is centered around family policies. And if you're a mom, a lot of the conservative movement does appeal to you. And so it's not even just about politics for me. It's like becoming a mom has been the best decision of my entire life. I absolutely love it. It's better than any career. Getting married is better than any career. And so reminding women just how beautiful this life can be, that's full of actual fulfillment and happiness, and not just becoming a corporate girl boss and never having kids, which is unfortunately what a lot of women are choosing nowadays. And it's a civilization crisis.
Yeah. And being an American woman is pretty remarkable. It's awesome. We talk about that all the time. It's just like, we all should be grateful. And you're right. I think, you know, I raised a Gen Z, a 15-year-old. I have a 15-year-old daughter, and I always tell her it's the most extraordinary place to live on the planet. Be grateful to God every day that you are an American girl. Okay. So who is the best person, most favorite person, your most fun interview ever? Like, what would you say who that would be?
Obviously, other than us.
Yeah, obviously.
Are you talking about who I've interviewed for the Conservateur?
Yeah, like who you've met, somebody who you've met, who you wanted to meet or never thought you would meet, and you're like, oh my gosh, and they turned out to be like amazing. Or
I mean this. I feel like I don't even want to hurt anybody's feelings. So I've actually like in the conservative movement, I've like yet to have a bad experience. Like everyone I meet is like really kind and like very, I've enjoyed my conversations. I will give two people who just immediately come to mind. Laura Trump was our first big interview and she wore our Make America Hot Again hat. And she's just been so gracious and amazing to us. And she's truly that role model woman that does it all and you can do it all. She's a great mom, a devoted wife, but she also has such a strong voice in herself. And I love that. And my other one is Caroline Levitt. I'm just so impressed by her. And, you know, she's just rising to the moon right now with everything she's doing, but yet she's such a humble person. And like, just whenever I've been in any room with her, she always makes it like time to come over. How are you doing? Catch up on like my life or whatever. And I'm like, you don't need to do that. Like, you're very busy. I'm nobody compared to you. And I just really have enjoyed what she's doing for the administration right now, but also just personal interactions. But like I said, we've talked to so many great people. I'm very inspired by so many women in our movement.
So many young, accomplished women. And you're right. I mean, a lot of those women are role models for my 15-year-old daughter, which is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Really
well, I can think of a great example that you guys just featured, Riley Gaines. You just did a feature on her, and I'm sure that was amazing. Is that out and available?
Yes, that just came out today. Like I said, I've only met Riley once really briefly because I'm working on another project for the Conservateur. So we had our great Bethany Miller. She does all the photography and writing for us. So she did that shoot and she said the best things about Riley and wow, the photos look amazing. And so happy she's taking that journey into motherhood. I mean, she's just great what she's been able to do for young women and another great role model. We just have such a great bench in the conservative movement. Like,
it's true.
We do.
And I'm really inspired by that.
We do. So how many kids do you have, Jayme?
Just one right now.
You have just one right now.
More soon.
Okay. Is it a daughter, a son?
Yeah, her name's Vivian. She is 2.5 years old. She is a wild one. So she keeps me really busy. And, you know, my husband and I got married at 23. We had her at 24. We're the same age. So I kind of liken this period of time right now that I get to just enjoy her for the moment. I think that's a really special time. You know, a lot of people have kids a little bit later now. And so it's a little bit more of a rush. But we're definitely thinking about another one soon.
That is fantastic. Do you think that, you know, just looking forward, I'm sure she has a long way to go before she goes to college. But would you send her to Berkeley, or would you maybe try to steer her in a different direction?
Well, one, she can never be a liberal because she came into this earth because of President Trump. I always say that to her already because my husband and I met on the Trump campaign. So I'm like, you're here because of President Trump. So I joke, but she has such a little defiant personality. I'm sure she'll go through a phase. I can already tell with her. And, you know, there's like a big movement, and I totally understand why people like want to pull out of these colleges. And I get that. Like, I'm not coming down super hard on this, but I will say for me, I really enjoyed going to Berkeley. I think I don't believe in pulling out of these institutions just in general. Like, I think we need to go conquer these institutions. And I think there's been a real change on college campuses. I mean, you look at like everyone who came out for the Charlie Kirk visuals across the country. So I think more and more the younger generation is moving more right. And so I would love for her to like go to a great school like Cal and go and test her ideas and debate people. I think that's a very important thing. And I think you can learn a lot doing so. But I think you need to be really strong in your values before you go. And I think that's important for parents to make sure that you've instilled your kids with a great set of values heading in, because if you're not sure about yourself yet, that's when the communist agenda can really
I love that answer. I love it.
So when you think about the Conservateur 5 years from now, what is success going to look like for you?
Well, I can't announce anything yet, but I think you'll see very soon. We have some really great things in the works. And, you know, what my goal is, like I said, like as much as I've never been in this to make money or whatever. I really mean that. Like, I haven't really made anything, if I'm being honest. I'm in here really to like change hearts and minds for young women. Like, I really believe that we have a better message. We have a positive message. I want to build women up. I want to bring them back to church. I want to show them the beauty of motherhood, marriage, and pursuing your career and everything that this country offers. And so I think my goal is to really change the culture and so we can start to see a shift in the voting demographics that I just laid out. That's the most important to me at the end of the day. I love this country and I want this country to be great. And I think what we've done with men has been just extraordinary, but you're going to see there's going to be problems in marriages if men and women are on opposite sides of the spectrum. So that's really my goal at the end of the day.
Okay. I love this.
So how can people follow you, find you, and explore more of what you do?
Yes. So you can go to our website, theconservateur.com. Follow us on Instagram at The Conservateur. You can follow me at Jayme Lee Franklin. And we have another venture coming up very soon that I hope you follow as well. So just stay tuned.
I love it. And you guys have the cutest swag, by the way. I have to get some.
Yes.
Love it.
Have your producers send me your addresses and we will ship you some stuff.
I love it. Yay. Because I
Thank
love it
you.
so much. Thank you so much. It was lovely meeting you, Jayme.
It really
Thank you.
was. Thank you
so much. I really appreciate it. You guys have done great things. I'm just so impressed.